If you're one of those Volkswagen fans that's a little upset that the Volkswagen Passat has gone very mainstream, and by that I mean a lower MSRP, higher sales, and a cheaper interior, then Volkswagen does have a solution for you, because this is the European Passat. Of course, this is the Volkswagen CC for 2013 in America, but that's essentially just a European Passat with this four-door coupe-like styling. Now, interior, we get very much the same interior as the European Passat, and really the only changes are back here in the rear, so that's what we're going to take a look at now. Under the hood of the CC, we have two different engine options. We have this particular engine, which is Volkswagen's corporate 2-liter turbo engine, good for 200 horsepower. We also have an optional 3.6-liter VR6, good for 280 horsepower. The base engine is equipped standard with the 6-speed manual transmission, and optionally you can get a 6-speed DSG, while the V6 comes only with the 6-speed DSG. The big difference between the Passat and the CC is here on the inside, because again we get the interior of the European Passat. That means we get a much nicer dashboard here. We have a soft touch dash. It's sort of in this multi-layer design here. As you can see, we have this sort of swoopy defroster area up here. We have this soft touch dash. We have some aluminum effect. This actually isn't real aluminum. This is just plastic made to look like aluminum. We have that trim there. And most importantly, we have a ever so slightly squishy lower dash here. This is not as hard and nasty as it is in the regular Passat. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's Chrysler bad. It's definitely mid-market sedan. So this is no better, no worse than your Camrys, your Accords, even a decent number of Acuras and other products in that near luxury and luxury market. So your Buicks, a lot of Cadillacs, things like that, their plastic's not going to be any better. Continuing on, we get Volkswagen's corporate 3-spoke steering wheel, fairly nice. We get infotainment buttons on the steering wheel, as well as buttons that control the multimedia information display right here in the gauge cluster. We get automatic headlights, we get cruise control, of course, and we get Volkswagen's corporate head unit. This is not a navigation head unit in this model. We'll go over those operations in a little bit. But overall, the interior comfort in this vehicle is very nice. As you can see, the driver's headroom is just about as it is in the Passat. So really the only loss is in the back seat, which we'll take a look at also in just a second. The front seat is very nicely adjustable, which is a great thing actually. That's even for the base model CC. We get a 4-way lumbar support as well as power tilt and recline. We also get a manual tilt telescoping steering wheel with a very good range of motion. I'm one of those people that has a problem with the whole 4-door coupe styling thing. And that's because if you look up coupe in the dictionary, you'll find that a coupe has how many doors? 2. So this vehicle has too many doors in order to be a coupe. So what they've really done is they've just made this a styling exercise for a regular old sedan. So we have these sashless windows here to give it sort of a coupe-like effect, I suppose. And we have this severely sloping rear style line here, this roof line and these door openings. As you can see, I'm 6 feet tall and my head's actually hitting the ceiling in the rear seat of the CC, and that's just here in the regular outboard seat. If I move over to the middle seat, I actually can't even sit up straight in this car. You have to actually cock my head one way or the other to actually fit in the rear seat. So as far as a passenger carrier, the CC makes a little bit less sense than a regular Passat if you're going to put people in the back. If, however, you're looking at some sort of crazy alternative for a 2-door car, then it does make more sense because of this cargo room. Now, we do have the 60/40 folding rear seats, as you can see here in the back, and they fold almost flat. So that means that the CC has an absolutely enormous cargo carrying capacity if you compare it to a 2-door coupe, which is kind of the only coupe available, really. Because the Passat, and therefore the CC, have become considerably larger vehicles over time, it's really no surprise that trunk comfort is very good. Not only can this trunk accommodate one journalist, but I also have the largest roller bag you can carry on a domestic flight, as well as a computer bag in here with me. And, you know, it's not so bad. The Passat CC isn't quite as wide in the back as I would like, so, you know, you do have to curl up your legs here, but overall I'd give this a solid 5 out of 10. The 2-liter engine is very well suited to this vehicle, not just because these transmission ratios are excellent actually when paired to this vehicle and this transmission, but because our 0 to 60 time clocked in at 6.2 seconds. That's with me behind the wheel, and I am not a professional manual driver. So if you're very good on a manual transmission, you'd probably get slightly lower. If you're not, you'd get slightly higher. I would expect the DSG under optimal situations to get right around that 6.1, 6.2 seconds to 60 mark. But also because we're getting nearly 31 miles per gallon in mixed driving. We've been averaging about 29.5, and that's on my mixed daily commute involving mountain driving, mountain highway driving, and some traffic on California's Highway 101, also known as California's largest parking lot. The CC may be the European Passat available in North America, but that doesn't mean you're going to get some hard European suspension. In truth, the CC is fairly softly sprung. It actually goes with the rest of its qualities because the CC is a fairly large vehicle. It's very quiet inside. The ride is smooth and well-tuned, actually. It is a fairly good handling vehicle, thanks as much to the elegant suspension design as to the 235 width tires. It handles these windy mountain roads fairly nicely, surprisingly so, I might add. For a vehicle of this size, if this were an American vehicle, I hate to say it because I do love some large front-wheel drive American vehicles, but it probably wouldn't handle quite this well. That's thanks due to the 2-liter turbo engine as well, because it is fairly light, making the nose not as nose-heavy as some vehicles. I'd have to say that the Regal GT is an incredibly good vehicle in this category as well, but the Regal isn't tuned quite as soft as this Passat CC, or I'm terribly sorry, the Volkswagen CC as it has been named now. I would actually say that if this was me and I was choosing between the available vehicles, and in my mind the Regal is a definite top choice, I think I like the styling on the Volkswagen CC a little bit better, although the extra power from the Regal is quite tempting. That brings us to price, and that's where the CC begins to unravel just a little bit. The base price on this CC is $30,610, so just shy of $31,000. By the time you add delivery and any option you might want in addition to the base sedan, you're going to get up there. The Volkswagen CC with 4Motion and the V6 is just over $41,000, since that's an additional $10,000 upon this vehicle. And you know, the Phaeton had some trouble selling, so how well an expensive Volkswagen will sell, I'm really not sure. Especially since the CC is really more just a styling exercise, especially now that Volkswagen has a 5th seat option in the rear. That really just makes this the European Passat with a slightly squished roofline, selling right next to the North American Passat with its cheaper interior and slightly different engine lineup. You know, that's kind of a tough sell for some shoppers, so let us know what you think in the comments section down below. Again, I'm Alex Dykes of thetruthaboutcars.com, and this has been the 2013 Volkswagen CC. Check out thetruthaboutcars.com for news, reviews, and more.